That was such a fail. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And that was such a hoo-ha right there. Anyway, we were almost running late, and there was a reason why. We can tell you why as well too. Hans is with me backstage right now. He actually just got back, and I'm not even sure that has he even had his dinner or not. He just came back from the ground and doing his rounds, distributing the food. So, yeah. So I see there are some viewers checking in already. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, say hi, drop a comment so that I know who you are, and I'll say hi back to you as well. For those of you regulars, thank you so much for supporting. Okay, so as usual lah, kita punya adat lah. So just to say hello to our viewers. Hey Gray, how's it going? And then we also have Dr. Alia Karen. Hello. Two kind botak men. You see lah later whose head is smoother lah, or who's shinier. I got a competition now lah. How lah, Alia? And who is this? Let's see. Oh, this is Marina. Marisa. Marisa Kumina. Hey, good evening. Thank you so much. And Chris, as usual, our super regular. Hari nampak dia punya. What's crack-lacking, brother? And we've got Hayatola as well. And Sao Yong is still on the ground. I thought you're going to be flying, but good to have you tonight. Thank you so much for joining. And Hazia. So as we have more and more viewers coming in, all right, so I'm just going to quickly splash the topic for tonight. It is buying forward. What buying forward means, well, we have our special guest tonight. I'm going to let the man speak himself and basically just introduce what this is all about, okay? So in the meantime, just to kick things rolling, and we're going to run our intro. So stay tuned, don't go away. We'll be right back. Back with you guys again. So I'm not going to waste much of a time here. Just going to bring Hans on board with us. And here you are. Hans, thank you so much for joining us, taking the time. Let me guess, you haven't makan yet lah. Since you just came back.
No, makan yet.
Oh my goodness. Same. I haven't makan as well too. I hope you had a bit of a drink though. So
non-alcoholic, yes.
Why? Party pooper you? Why like that lah? So
Bibles, when we start drinking, we don't stop. So if I started now, I cannot get on the show, bro.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, listen, I'm really appreciative of your time, because knowing how busy you are, you do this every day, and we're going to talk about that in a moment's time, so the viewers will know what you've been up to. And yeah, so without further ado, let us know. Siapa kau? Who is Hans Gill?
Okay, so I would call myself mostly as an F&B entrepreneur. I've been in the F&B scene for at least 11 years now, owning my own business. But being in the F&B scene probably about 20 years. I started working in restaurants when I was about 18, 19 years old. As a kid, my mom's policy was she will pay for education and we will pay for our makan, minum, and you know Punjabis how we like to minum. So when we minum, it's all on us. My mom's a single mother. So we, from a young age, we basically knew that we needed to do things on our own as well, instead of just being dependent on, parents' money lah. So yeah, I started working in restaurants, did that to, get by college, gained a lot of experience. And I would say that if there's one thing I can advise more young people to do today is to go and work in a restaurant when you're young. You learn a lot of interpersonal skills, you learn how to approach tables, you learn how to approach people, you get that little bit more confidence when at a young age. My bosses, my restaurant managers were very good. They convinced us, even though we were very scared to approach tables. So yeah, it was from there, went into then studying IT. I studied in Apit. My course was for 3 years. but it took 6 years. Most of my friends call me double degree, but actually I only got 1 degree. But double degree meaning I took 6 years to complete a 3-year course. So I took double the duration to finish what people finish in this one. I fucked up. I failed a few times. Let's just say that I never enjoyed studying lah. Okay. Even in school, I failed my SPM. I
Did
get
you?
yeah. I got a SAP when I was in Form 5. So it was really bad. But I'm more of a person that likes to do. So I like to pick up skills by experience, seeing things with my own eyes, which also comes back to Projek Satu Hati. I saw a lot of people doing things, and I also started wanting to contribute. But I have this one thing a little bit anal about me, where if I don't know where my money is going personally, I find it very hard to give.
Understand.
So I decided to go on the ground, do it myself, see it myself, and then next thing you called, a movement was built, and we went from there, lah. So
Yep.
yeah, long story short, FNB guy and just doing quite a lot of things now. I had my
Good.
social media agency as well,
Mhm.
Hans Media, and but yeah, a lot of things have been put on hold because businesses can't run, so it's been tough, lah. But we make the best of it, lah.
Understand. So, for those of you who are in my circle, my connection, weeks ago, I talked about the Buy It Forward movement as well as reaching out to that kedai makan opposite my place where I live, and proposed this idea. So prior to that, right, I called up Hans. I knew Hans was doing this in KL. I saw what he was doing on his post, and found out about Projek Satu Hati. So I called him up. I said, "Hey, man, I have the same idea as you as well, but my motive is very much in line with yours, with a bit of a twist there. Is it? So I want to support local businesses, but at the same time, I want to also make sure that people on the ground, homeless, or even you don't have to be homeless, but to make sure you have food to eat. So how can we support local businesses as well as support the needy at the same time?" So I called up Hans, and we had a good chat. Two strangers, two botak fillers, talking on the phone for the first time for 1 hour, maybe slightly more than 1 hour actually,
Yeah.
and it took off from there lah. So okay, now you mentioned that you're a restaurateur. 20 years, man. 20 years is not a short time, man. So if you could share with us, I know that you have Tiki Taka at Damansara Hike. So could you talk a little bit about that with us?
Okay, so just a slight 1 minute or 2 minutes intro. Before I got to Tiki Taka, my first restaurant and bar was called The Legends Bar in TTDI. I opened that in 2010. I ran it for 5 years, and in 2015 I had a fair offer, and so I flipped it. I sold it, but there was a clause in the sale that I could not open a business within 5 kilometers and for a minimum of 6 months to protect the buyer. Basically, so that I don't pull all the regulars immediately, right, when I open. So I took the money, I went to Europe. I spent about a month in Europe to think of new ideas. And I went to Madrid, Barcelona, UK, Amsterdam.
Makan angin je
Beautiful
lah.
place. Yeah. Beautiful place. Just angin only, nothing else. And a few other places, London, all of this. But when I reached Barcelona, it was just so nice. The weather was amazing. The beach was nice. And when I was there, I resonated the tapas culture with our Malaysian culture, where when we go and eat in a food court,
Yep.
we would order char kway ka, lobak, mee goreng, kway teow goreng, all on a table, and then people will share, right? Take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that,
Right.
and it was very big in Spain, and I was like, this is Malaysian, this is not Spanish, we did it first, in Malaysia, and but they had pinchos, which is bite-sized items, lah. So I had that idea, and I spoke to the chef, and I spoke to my brother who was with me as well, and we thought, hey, you know what? Why don't we do this? So we've heard of La Bodega. I'm sure if anybody's from KL would have heard of La Bodega. Huge institution, been around for many, many years. They were tapas. So I didn't want to do tapas because I felt like, they had stamped their mark on it and there's no point copying. So we thought, why don't we do this pinchos concept of a little smaller bites and, you can share. So we had that idea, came back, did a business proposal, started selling the idea to people, convinced 3 guys to join me on this journey, invested a considerable sum of money. And the only thing then was during our food tasting and all, I started going to other restaurants in KL to try. The first restaurant I went was just 2-3 days after I landed from Barcelona. And this restaurant is called Mercat in Bangsal.
All right.
And also Pinchos in Changkat. When I tried their food, I was like, fuck, there's no way we can sell Spanish food here because they were really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I tasted and I came back was so fresh in my mouth, and I'm like, these guys are at the top. So we thought, let's do a fusion. Asian mixed with local and Spanish. That way indirectly there'll be no competition. So even though our food was bad, nobody could compare it and say, hey, there is somebody who is doing it really good, because literally at that time, 5 years ago, there was nobody really doing our small bite style, So it was kind of niche. So maybe that's why we became quite successful very fast, because everybody was like, they couldn't compare us with anybody really. So it worked out in our favor. But yeah, we went on to do quite well, won a couple of awards. So quite happy with it.
And stay tuned for that. Hold on a little bit about the award, because Alia, she mentioned referring to your Phil SPM. Dia kata, Phil, never mind, Hans got other traits, betul? See, this fella agreeing already berdarah botak already. That's another one trait. And Marissa concurs. And these days, skills are more important. And Alia responds back as well to your venture with this group of friends in Tiki Taka, determination, hard work, ideas, support, you name it. Speaking of accolades and awards, so could you talk a bit about this? So Tiki Taka, I understand, won a Tatler Dining Award. Apa macam?
So we opened in June 2016. In July, 2017, about a year plus, Tatler gave us at that time the best new restaurant in the whole country, Malaysia. It was, a shocker because I don't go into business to win awards. We go into business to give joy to people. We believe what we serve is good, and we hope enough people appreciate it and they come back so that we can remain in business and we can keep innovating and bringing good food. So when you win an award, it's always a bonus. It's nice, but it should never get to your head. And so when we won the first time, everybody was elated. But for me, it's like, okay, done. What next? We got to keep going. And thankfully, then we've been open 5 years. We picked up another 2 Tatler Awards as well. So I think that's the most important thing that people need to realize about business. You can become number one once. You can win once. The game is if you can do it consistently. Because if you can do it consistently, not just about the awards, but keeping your food quality standards matched.
Right.
You will always have people keep coming back. I've gone to this suyok guy in Jalan Alo. I think he's been cooking the suyok. They call him Dato Suyok for like 15 years, right? The taste every time you go in there is spot on and it's the same. And he doesn't have a central kitchen like your McDonald's and KFC, So that's why I appreciate and respect. Of course, I respect KFC, your big boys, your McDonald's, who can streamline quality. But to the smaller players, I've also been going to anybody around Damansara might have had Burger John, this Ramly burger in Uptown. And I've been going to Burger John at least 10, 15 years. His burger is spot on. It's the same taste, the same sauce. So these are successful people. If you can maintain your standards, you have nothing to worry about competition and who else is coming into the market. So sometimes when it comes to business, right, people are always like, oh, what is he doing, she doing, right? If you just maintain and do what you do well, which your crowd appreciates, and you don't fuck that up, you don't really need to care what other people are doing. Of course, you need to keep updated and abreast with what people are doing. So if they are doing something well, understand it, incorporate it into your business, but
or go
don't get that. Yeah, or go a step further. Yeah.
Yep. Understand. Understand. I like that, because as you mentioned, awards, well, that was yesterday, right? You get it
Yeah,
once, as you mentioned, and then you got to move on. And consistency is key. And I think that really speaks out not just for business owners in whatever industry or restaurants or what you do. I think it really speaks out for all of us here in whatever that we do. I think it's always a continuous pursuit of excellence rather than just a one time and yeah, that's it. So an award is like what, having a very nice shiny medal or badge of honor, but yeah, it's going to get expired. Why? Because if it's 2017, it's going to remain 2017. Today's 2021, brother. So, right. And
exactly.
so we have some audience here bringing us your comments. What do you think of what Hans just mentioned earlier? If it's resonating with you or not, or what are your thoughts about it? And let's not waste this one. Chris checks in. He's got a question for you. He says, "Hey Hans, how your bartender made Connor's draft almost or close to the other black draft?" It's amazing.
Almost, hey, I thought better, bro. Better than that other one.
Oh, I like it how he says close to the other black draft. Wow, Chris.
So yeah, I was with the other side, the dark side for 5 years with Legends Bar. And so when I sold Carlsberg, they saw, probably something in me, and they asked me to partner with them.
Mhm.
And so I sat with the head of the director of supply chain. I had met the CEO. I've met a lot of them, and we brainstormed. They had already perfected the thing, but they
Right.
asked me for my, like knowledge a little bit and this and that. And I think we did quite well with Corners. Of course, I just played a very very tiny part of it. But in 2016, they wanted to launch Corners to match the other black beer. And I think in 2 years or a year or 2 years from there, I think Corners really gained a lot of market share. And it was all just about saying that, look, you know what? There is alternatives, and there are people who are making good beer as well. I think for
Right.
the longest time, everybody only looked at one beer. But I was very happy to try something different, because there were a lot of F&B entrepreneurs. Chris. Okay. So I always find this lah. Sometimes when you get bigger, right, the big boys will come, and the big boys will tie you down to fantastic contracts, good money, good perks. But if you don't mind going for the underdogs and wanting to make a challenge, want to try something different, I always prefer that route. Let me be honest, I was offered a hefty sum of money to remain on the other side. And, but I like the challenge of somebody else saying that, we have a great team, we believe our product is good, why don't you come and try it? And I love challenges. And so in 2016, there were not many people that wanted to come to the other side. And me and a couple of other F&B entrepreneurs were one of the few that took a chance with Carlsberg at that time. And hi, Jaji. So yeah, it was a good thing that has paid off quite well, quite handsomely now.
Understand. Haley checks in as well. Was there a different traction of customers before and after your first award? So, what was the impact?
I would say definitely. I would always appreciate the customers. I don't diss the customers that came after the first award. But it's always nicer in the first one, because those people that came already kept telling us that your food is fantastic, love your chef, love your team. And it was already, they kind of knew that we were onto something special, and we didn't know we were onto something special. We were like, we're just doing our fucking job and giving you service, giving you food, but
Right.
other people could see that, hey, this is really good. And so then when you win the award, of course, you get a whole new clientele, whole new people coming in, big datos, Tan Sris and all, because we are based in Damansara Heights. And, we've served a fair share of ministers and a lot of big people who would have never came into our outlet previously. So that is good. Both sides, there is the plus. The people that didn't know you before but came and supported was very important, because it kept our spirits high, it kept us going. They paid our bills, they paid our staff salaries, right? Indirectly, they paid for everything to get to that point. So, and then once you get to that point, you don't forget these people and you open up your arms to new people that come on board as well.
Right.
And so it just kept opening new and new doors. And every other award, we just kept getting new people coming and saying that. We even had some people who just live 2 minutes walk and said, "We never knew you were here," and we'd been open. So it looked bad on me as a marketer, just down the street, they saying they didn't even know of my restaurant. But I guess that's the journey in life, Thankfully, you want something and then they walked in,
I like that. I like that. But 2020 and until now, 2021 has been tough for a lot of business owners out there. I mean, business owners out there. Restaurants is not spared as well. The food industry. So, I mean, what was your strategy? I mean, I understand that you also have a new stall. Tell us about this stall. What is it all about? Curbside Jalan Kasah.
So, okay, Tiki Taka is, I wouldn't call it expensive, but I think it's a fairly decent price restaurant. Mm-hmm. So, in the first MCO, when there was a lockdown, our sales dropped considerably. We were making like $1,000 a day, and $1,000 a day doesn't pay our bills. Our rent is pretty high. My landlord should know this. In the Mansara Heights, maybe we need a better deal. But it was tough, and we can look at the sales, and it dropped, and we were like, okay, never mind, still can jalan. Second MCO, January was down even more, 50%. Third one went down even more, and I just looked at it and I said, you know what? I think I understand what's happening here. I think that we are not affordable and not reachable price point. Because whenever I saw other pictures of people in Pasar Malams and all, they were packed. And that's why people were complaining. Hey, Pasar Malams can open, events cannot open. Why can Pasar Malams open? And that's it. When I looked at it, I'm like, there's a fucking long line there. Instead of fighting against the Pasar Malam, instead of complaining, why don't we just do the same thing? We open a stall, So then we understood. I started going to a few Pasar Malams. I saw a couple of roadside stalls. I look at the price point. And then I just go back to my chef and I say, look, I don't know how to cook. I cannot cook for nuts. Okay, I'll be honest with you, bro. I'm the worst chef in the world. I cannot even cook an egg, bro. Okay, so cannot even cook a damn egg. But I have ideas and I have very good people around me. I generally like to tell them this is A or this is Z. This is where we are. This is where I want to go. Can you do something for me? And generally people will come back to me. I tell my friends, I tell, family members, my mom, I tell all of these people, and then I take everything, I put it in my bald head, and then I figure out where do we go, And so I figured the price point, I figured the style that we need to go, and I just thought, let's do a stall. And then I started looking at news in the US, right, where unemployment rate dropped so much, millions unemployed. And when I looked at all of that, I said, hey, this is not going to be overnight, even when the pandemic is gone. How do you re-employ back millions of people? You can't, right? The companies have to regrow, make money first, then only they can rehire. Which means if in the next couple of months or even 1 or 2 years, you are not going to see the economy grow as fast, means the people's earnings are still going to be at a certain bracket. So if you do a stall, it's not going to be just for 1 month, 2 months. This is probably going to be a longer term thing.
Understand.
So then I thought, let's try it. We tried it. It took off. And with regards to the food, I just thought, okay, what do Malaysians love the most? Nasi lemak, Ramly burger. Okay, we cook nasi lemak, we cook Ramly burger, we cannot go wrong,
Understand. So that's basically your way of pivoting to, just flow along with the pandemic. I mean, it's bad, and understand you hit a very good point. Generally speaking, if you compare to Pasar Malam food, obviously you cannot compare the price, right? I mean, it's like, wow, you're going to bring yourself down, your costs, you're going to kill your business as well. I'm pretty sure you also have your salary. So, so when you do this, when you came out with the idea of Curbside Jalan Kasah, suppose there wasn't any casualties in your workforce that all will maintain during this time?
No, there were casualties. Had to be, Daniel. Very hard to sustain, So there was a reduction in salaries.
Sure.
And on top of that, there was, I think, a very minimal amount, but there were a couple of people that had to be let go.
Right.
Unfortunately. But once things picked up, we have rehired. And unfortunately or fortunately for me, they couldn't find a job. So
Right.
when we reopened back, I've had 3 of my staff come back.
Nice.
So yeah, so we rehired back. So I guess they understood that I wasn't just letting go because I didn't want them,
Not just
but
to Kasugala, you know.
it's that the ship is sinking. I have
Right.
to make some tough decisions. Some of them actually didn't want to take a reduction in salary, so I had no choice but to let them go. And
Mm.
so later, when they went out and it was tough and they couldn't get a job, and they realized that what I did was actually not simply, they came back and said, you know what, we don't have something, can we come back? And I'm like, okay, no problem, I don't hold grudges.
Mm.
Unless you steal and you have a problem like that in my restaurant, then it's going to be very hard for me to forgive.
Fair
But
enough.
if you had a different ideology and you thought maybe you were going to accept something better and things didn't work out, that's okay. Just
Mm.
live nicely. When
Understand.
you work nicely, and when you want to exit nicely, no problem. Put in
Understand.
your notice or understand and come to a mutual agreement, and we can always remain friends. And who knows, like that's why with these guys, when they came back and they said we would like to come back, I definitely took them because they're very good at what they do.
Right. Right. And obviously, I'm going to show a few pictures here just to have a better idea for our audience what Curbside Jalan Kasah is all about. But we're almost at the halftime right now, so will come back. Stay tuned. We're not going to go away, and we're just going to run our quick commercial as well too. Okay, so hang in there. We'll be right back. And we're back again, and we're still on the topic of Curbside Jalan Kasah. We're going to be flashing a few photos, and perhaps Hans is able to elaborate more. So, for those of you tuning in, thank you so much again. And if you've got any questions for Hans, drop in the comment box as well. And hey, Gray checks in and says, "Hey Hans, you can be his consultant, bro." If I'm not mistaken, I think Gray is in Penang. So yeah, get connected, Gray, and we'll see how that
For sure.
works out for both of you. Okay. So what else here? Okay. So our comments are clear. Now some photos. So this is what Jalan Kasah looks like. So if you got your team members cooking, look at that ayam goreng lah, bro. What is this, man? What is this, man? Seriously. So those are your guys that has been with you, and this is nasi lemak, obviously. Oh my goodness, look at that. Audience, would you want to go for that? Would you want to have that? So yeah, man. Hans, run us through.
Yeah.
What are we looking at?
Okay, so that's our ayam rempah. Those are my boys. Who knows that consistency is very important for me. Every day they hear that from me.
Right.
But yeah, so we've been pushing more of the nasi lemak ayam because we wanted to bring wholesome meals to the less privileged, the frontliners, the Myanmar refugees, and all of this. So that's taken more of my move instead of my burgers as much. But I'll share with you later about, or maybe when it's time, about a few other developments with regards to curbside and franchising it and a few other stuff. So it's worked in a good way. But up until now, I was just doing the nasi lemak because when you go and give cooked food, you can't give people a burger.
Yeah.
So to the people that come to the they have the burgers, which moves a lot. But generally, when we are taking cooked meals, we want to give a full meal, So you got to
Wholesome.
have some rice, wholesome meals, So the nasi lemak has taken off very, very well. Very good response. I'm very happy with it. But in the near future, going to pivot again a little bit more because we already know that dining is going to come in. So I think it's possibly by end of this month or beginning of next month,
Nice.
possibly dining is going to come in. So we are going to tweak the Curbside Jalan Kasah model. So if anybody wants that ayam rempah, possibly 2 to 3 weeks from now. So I haven't told this to anybody yet. Daniel gets first dibs on this. Yeah. I'll explain that when you want me to.
Okay. Perhaps we're going to move on to buying forward, because that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Our listeners, our audience is dying to know what's buy it forward. What is it in your context? So how do you do it, and how does Curbside Jalan Kasah come into the picture to sync up with this idea? Or pay it forward, it's a different name, but idea.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I had this young woman who came to Curbside, and she actually said that she wanted to buy forward a meal. And my staff is a foreigner. He didn't quite understand what she meant. So he said like, pay it forward apa itu? So he didn't understand. He's like, she's giving him money. And he was like, what do you want? She said, I don't want anything. And he's like, mana boleh? How can I take your money and give it a thing? So, he was like honest. So he called a chef out, and chef came out and she said, hey, yeah, how can I help you? And she explained that, I've seen what has been going on with the pandemic. It's really tough. I see there are quite a few security guards in our area. And also a few people work in the construction sites around here. I see them walking around. Could I pay forward, give you the money? How much is a meal? You give these people X amount based on how much I'm giving. So chef brought this up to my knowledge at night when we discuss every couple of nights, brainstorming and updating me. How's the business going? What are the numbers like and all of that? And I said, wow, that was very, very nice of her. And so I said, I want to top up on top of that, right? Like since somebody is paying it forward, I understand it's tough for us. I understand, we've lost a considerable sum of money. But you know what? Let's do it, And so I put it out. I put up a LinkedIn post on that, just saying that basically I wanted to take this girl's money, for her amount, I was going to get 13 packets of nasi lemak. So I said, I will top up 3 packets. And I said, who do I give this to? That was what the LinkedIn post was. Do you know who I can give this to? And then the legend, reached out from there. And then, next thing, people started coming in, pouring in and asking me, hey, we'd like to contribute. And next thing, I had like 600-700 meals based on the cash that I received to now give forward, So it's basically a very simple concept. And today, Projek Satu Hati we've got more than 40 restaurants on board now. So it's blown. So basically, after I had that conversation with my chef and all, I also had a conversation with my co-founder, David Kurupatam.
Right.
So Dato' David and I, we go back quite a couple of years. I've known him, business associate. We've been talking about business, a lot of stuff. And I said, hey, there's this girl that came here. She did this and all of that. And then we brainstormed to try and take this idea to a whole new level, Initially, I was just going to put a donation box there and just ask anybody to drop it off. I was just looking at it as a very small thing. And he was like, hey, no, let's open up channels online. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's create the Facebook page. Let's, not just say it's about Hans or Curbside. Let's get more people to participate. Since you said that this was a nice thing where you can now cook for restaurants, why don't, we create a platform where more restaurants can come on board so we can feed more people, So I was like, brilliant idea, So I got on board with him, we created the Facebook page. It's called Projek Satu Hati group. And it just started with, it didn't even just start with my restaurant. The first restaurant was from you, right?
It was the one I talked about.
Yeah. Bro, you go to Projek Satu Hati's Facebook group and scroll all the way to the bottom. The first post is from Restaurant Al Bidayo, which is your introduction in Johor.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So okay.
I didn't even put up the post yet because I was like, okay, we spoke, and you were like straight away, okay, I got somebody, I think I got, and you move so fast. And so, we were still like, okay, setting up page, still thinking of what to do. And I wanted to know how many meals I'm going to get out of the money. And then every day when it kept coming in, I was like, okay, let me start strategizing. And then
Right.
I was like, where do we go? I didn't want us to do Kita Jaga Kita, the white flag movement, because the white flag movement serves one purpose in my understanding lah. It serves a purpose whereby it gives rice, all of these essential goods to people who are affected.
Right.
But if you look at frontliners, homeless and all, they cannot get rice and all of this, right? They
Yep.
need cooked meals. So I had to do all of that while you were already on gear 5 or gear 10. And then, the restaurant came on board, and I spoke to David. I said, bro, we haven't even launched it in KL yet. Johor is already moving. And then he was like,
So
yeah.
the Facebook page was already up. I didn't know. So I was okay. So just for context to our audience, right? That post that Hans mentioned earlier about that random customer, that girl wanting to buy it forward with his stuff and all that. So that was what attracted me, and then one thing led to another. I saw my one and only roti canai joint is like macam want to die, I want to don't know can survive, and that's my only roti canai joint. Okay, I like roti canai. Don't mess with my roti canai. So, and then so I talked to them, and I actually talked to them first. Then only I called Hans. So it was already going on. But little did I know that Hans haven't started this. So okay, this is the first time I'm hearing that actually.
Yeah. You want proof, bro? Scroll all the way to the bottom. You will see it. The first post was by that guy, not even by Hans.
So okay, I have a few questions as well too. But Dr. Alia has got a question. So now that we know that the Buy It Forward is kind of correlated with your Curbside Jalan Kasah, and then Projek Satu Hati kind of amplifies it, the reach. So her question is that you get a lot of praises with what you've been doing with food distribution. How about negative comments? Have you gotten any fires? Have you been asked, if you're earning some money from it?
Yeah. Logically, I've got a decent following on Instagram. I've got a fairly decent following on LinkedIn as well. So there will always be people, questioning it. My conscience is clear. I don't believe in creating content, right? I believe in documenting content. So whatever I put out is kind of like my daily journey, right? So sometimes my friends come and say, bro, how many posts you want to put a day? We're getting bored. I said, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing this every day. So I just put it up on social media. So yes, fairly a decent sum of people will question. To me, I record down everything. I mean, if you are well aware of the law, there's AMLA and certain laws that you can be questioned. And if the enforcements come and question, I have already noted down all the money. I've got the proof, and I've also got the proof of distribution. So I'm clear. If the enforcement want to check lah. We got the black and white. With regards to people on social media, I cannot give them all the proof because a lot of my donors don't want to be anonymous.
Right.
So it's up to your own mindset lah. We just keep doing. We do as much as we can, but I do know that winning a netizen war on social media is not something possible lah. It's not possible. So you do the best you can, and hopefully, people will understand it. And if they don't, everybody has a right to question. That's good. They can question. And the good thing also is that, quite a lot of people have questioned me in DM.
There should be a check and balance anyway.
There has to be, So it's good. It's a good thing and sometimes also it's been very courteous. Some people ask me and then I explain. And they've been like, hey, thanks for being transparent. So it's good. Sometimes people just hammer you because maybe they don't know. Not to say they purposely want to hammer you, So maybe they don't understand, they don't know. So they question. Everybody has a right to question, So I just know that I put my books in order. And that is also one reason, bro, why I actually wanted to do the frontliners. You see, if you only give food to the homeless, who's going to check? Who can you come and say you give 10 meals, 20 meals, 30 meals? right?
Same, right. Then comes the question: how you going to do the check and balance again, right? So okay, I hear you.
But if you give to the frontliners, like when I give to the hospitals, um, there is black and white because I'm committed to them daily. I cannot just decide today to turn up in the hospital. It doesn't work that way. With the hospitals, you need to email, you need to give black and white every day. How many you're going to give for how long? It's all planned.
Right.
So it's
Makes
not today Hans turns up. No, like with a hospital Kuala Lumpur and Sungai Buloh, we plan 2 weeks in advance. Every day, what time, how many packs, and who is the person I meet when I bring the food.
Right.
So when
Okay.
you deal with the hospitals and all, tomorrow if there's a questioning, I can give you the direct person in charge of the hospital because he signed the letter and he's been accepting my food.
Okay, that's a very good way of actually mitigating that question. So that was one of the hard questions Hans and I were talking about over the phone. I said, "Look, Hans, I know that when I was talking to the Kedai Makan Fayed Al Noor, just right opposite my condo, I said, my wife gave me a curveball question. I told you, Hans, I can now whack for my wife, like." She was asking, how will you know that he's not gonna pocket the money? How you know that he's not gonna do crap with it and just masuk pocket? I said, well, there will always be that unanswered gray area as well, and that until today, there will always be that gray area. Even Hans, but Hans, what you're doing, I think, is a very smart idea as well because you are able to actually counter check that as well. Now, but for some of the restaurants that I know of, especially the one that I talked to, they do not have any ways of showing why because they reached out to really, really the poor, homeless as well too. So I have to admit, while there is always a questionable risk there, but I suppose it's all down to this lah, in our heart, your intention, and if you really go and take the money where you're supposed to, sustain your own business and give back in return. I think there's just a matter of time where, yeah lah, you're gonna have a
Yep.
front seat audience with karma or something like that lah.
And the best part is this, right, Daniel? If you take the money and you don't pay it forward, you will realize that you cannot keep raising money because people don't see what you're doing.
People
The
don't know
reason I've been able
visibility,
to
correct?
the reason I've been able to keep going is every time I post up something, somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, can I just give you 30 ringgit?" No problem.
Yep,
So the
exactly.
funding continues as you keep doing. And then
Right.
as you keep doing, more doors open up. Like, recently another lady from LinkedIn, Meha, reached out to me and said, "Would you like some masks since I see you going and giving homeless?"
I
You
saw
know,
just moments
today's
ago.
post,
Yeah.
So if you use the money for a good cause, the good will keep coming. If you take the money and pocket it, that's it. It's the end of it. Okay, one day you win lah, you pocketed some money, but there is no longevity. And
Be a
and
long
you will
term.
probably not, it's not long term, and the conscience is on you lah, right? One day you're gonna pay for it lah, by somehow lah, by God, by the authorities, by somebody. You're gonna get it back lah one day lah,
Special place in hell for those kind of people lah.
Yeah, we spoke about that special place in hell. Yeah.
So Dr. Alia checks in again. She says that if people don't trust and support you, they won't even give you money to begin with lah. So yeah, I mean that really resonates, and I think the least that we could do is that record down. And I like your idea, Hans. And instead of just doing the regular content creation, you are documenting content. That's a very, very nice way of putting it. And you're also sharing, and it's not just photos. And like I said, photos really that you really want to validate. There's actual people you can call and whatnot. So I think that's nice. The same thing that I mentioned to the Kedai Makan owner as well too. His name is Atik. Social media can get viral very fast, just like wildfire. Use it; it's free, for God's sake, right? Everybody has Facebook, Instagram. Use it, and yeah. So I told them about Projek Satu Hati. I didn't know that the first post by them was the first post. So anyway,
You're a legend, bro.
Hey, you anyway. I'm not gonna rub your head, okay? So you're already smoother than mine already. So okay. Oh yeah. So here's Tris. Hi. Hey, Tris. Why you say hi, Hans only? Then me leh? Because I asked you to eat chili padi on 2 days ago. Now you don't friend me, is it? And I say hi. Okay, anyway. She's one of my team members, anyway. I catch her. All right, so we're gonna move on there. So that kind of explains Projek Satu Hati, but I suppose based on what you're saying right now is sure, this whole thing, the buy forward idea, and of course with the Curbside Jalan Kasah is also, you also need to cari makan. It's your business at the end of the day. That's where all the money and the contributions will still float your business. Get the ingredients out and rolling continuously, but at the same time, while you still sell, you contribute all this money to those that you have made appointments to send out to, I suppose. I saw some really some rough neighborhood you sent. I can't remember what's the place. I know Block A, Block D.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the photos was
Quite a
rough.
few.
So yeah, and those a bit susah lah, but I know you work with the PPR office or something like that as well too.
Quite a
Something
few.
like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the idea, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to ask this on behalf of the audience, that Projek Satu Hati is there to kind of like broadcast out this message to fellow kedai makan owners, from restaurants to kedai to warungs and all that, in a way to help sustain the business as well, at the same time give back.
Yep. So basically, it kills two birds with one stone, right? The F&B industry is devastated, right?
Sure.
Not all businesses can do well with takeaway and delivery. Like Tiki Taka. Tiki Taka has a beautiful ambience. It's a corner lot. It has alfresco seating. People wine and dine and all of that. You know, if you're just going to eat at home, it may not cut it. So, and many other restaurants just like mine feel it, you know. So Projek Satu Hati, what David and I was thinking about was that, look, instead of just buying essential goods where you are giving to the homeless and all of that, how about you buy a meal from a restaurant? So how did I come up with this 8 ringgit? Because normally people who donate, my nasi lemak ayam is 10 ringgit. All right. But for anybody wanting to donate, I only charge 8 ringgit. I absorb 20%. That's my pay it forward. But how I came about that 20% was, when I opened Curbside, I contacted Grab and all of these players. Although I've been with them for many, many years, they charge 30%. So I'm like, okay, I need to do marketing, but I have to spend 30%, which means I'm going to lose 3 ringgit. How about for anybody that wants to donate and pay it forward, I absorb 20%. I still have a small margin, which I still make a bit of profit, so I can keep my staff employed and they are happy to cook. So it's a win-win. So the idea behind this is that we want restaurants to keep their staff. You see, if more and more restaurants go under, unemployment rate is going to go higher and higher. So we want to keep restaurants to keep their people, keep your people, keep them employed. So don't make too much of profit. Just make a small profit, just enough for you to pay your salaries, make good food, and pay it forward. So anybody that donates, they can even donate to the restaurant of their choice. You know, the money doesn't come to my bank account or anybody else's bank account for the matter. It goes to the bank account of who you want to support. You know, so if you like for an example, in Taman Tun, there is a restaurant called Elephant Rock. If you want to contribute to Elephant Rock, you donate to Elephant Rock. So Projek Satu Hati is listing down all the restaurants there. You can personally see, hey, this restaurant, Jin Rickshaw, Arcadia, I want to help this restaurant. You know, I like going there. You know,
the same idea to move the food forward to those in need. Okay, and that photo I was sharing among those participating outlets as well, that they posted on the Facebook group.
Yeah. So basically, we now just are creating new channels to reach out, because we have got 30 to 40 restaurants now. Everybody wants to contribute because they have all been raising funds, people wanting to help the restaurants, which is fantastic. So now restaurants can keep people employed, but now my job is to go out and look for more areas who are needing this help. So I go to now Selayang, I go to Batu Caves, I go and open up more channels so that all this restaurant food, I can move it out. You know, and now it's not just Hans. I've got Satish, I've got Jack, the one that's now you posted, you know. So Jack, Simon takes care of KL, Bukit Bintang area, Jalan Alo. So I do a little bit of the frontliners and this and that. And then Jeremy is our PR guy, Jeremy's has also a restaurant, a Dragonfly. It's been affected. So he's now using his own personal free time on his own, no cost. He doesn't make any money from this. It's just his own, wanting to help out. He does all the posting for us as well. So many restaurant owners have now come on board to say, let me do this. Can I do the design artwork for you? Can I do this? And then I've got another beautiful soul called Ivy. Ivy has come on board to actually help us coordinate. So all these restaurants that come on board get in touch with Ivy. And then Ivy comes and tells me, Satish, Leslie, and all, guys, I've got 1,000 meals. Who's going to take where? So I will say, okay, I take.
You segregate the
I will
areas
move
of
300 here. Yeah. So it just started off from just a couple of people, and now it's grown into everybody's like, how can I value add? How can I pay it forward? I don't know. I don't own a restaurant, but can I give you my time? Can I create the Excel spreadsheet and put all of it together? So Projek Satu Hati has become a movement, and nobody gets paid for this. We are just all trying to. Of course, we are also bored lah. We got nothing else to do in this pandemic, so we might as well do something nice lah.
That's amazing, because I remember, okay, I'm looking at my calendar right now. I spoke to that kedai makan opposite my house on the 7th, and that night I called you on the 7th of July. That was barely a month ago. So you're telling me that, having said that, I bought the first one on board, and since then, in about a month, you got, how many did you say? How many participating outlets now? 40?
At least 40. I just now, when I left, I saw another 3 messages which I haven't replied. Hi, I've got a restaurant. All I have to move to Ivy. So I guess more people understand how good it is, because look, the frontliners are exhausted. They only have 15-20 minutes break, right? Like, they want to eat something hot, something fast, and they are done, right? The marginalized people.
Some of the hospitals you send, right? The frontliners and all that. And I sense there's also a police block set up as well. Okay.
Yeah. So there's so much of people that need help that cannot cook. So restaurants must step up and say, hey, although times are bad for me, let me do my part and pay it forward, right? So they raise funds from their crowd, their friends, their family, their customers, and say, hey, we want to actually support all of these people, the frontliners, the homeless, the PPR, the marginalized, and all of that. And it's maybe one day, So because there was that Kita Jaga Kita thing, so our goal is to actually keep people in the F&B to survive. We want to keep jobs, because with more jobs there, you don't get people in debt. You don't get the suicide rate there. Of course, people suicide for multiple reasons: depression, cash, and all of that. And recently, some people have forwarded to me videos which looks like the cases are going higher, the depression rate. So my staff, although we are not earning a shitload of money from doing this, at least they are happy every day they can cook. They are so happy that they have work to do. So it's all in all, it's a great thing lah. I mean, that's my personal opinion lah. I think it's nice. My staff are happy. All these new restaurants that have come on board, they also tell me the same thing. Hey, the morale in the team is fantastic. When you used to cook for thousands of people and your restaurant is packed, to ending up cooking for 5 people a day, it can be very demoralizing, bro. It can be very, depressing lah every day. So when you are so skillful at your art, you're a chef, you are so good at cooking, and now you get 1 order a day, it can really hurt.
Very sian.
Very tough,
And right. So now that we know about Projek Satu Hati more in depth, all right. So you could tell us a little bit about the joys of delivering now. So I know the story. I know your schedule. My goodness. So maybe you could tell us. So now that we now know, or the audience knows, that you receive funds, donations from whoever who supports the cause, and to Curbside Jalan Kasah, how is it delivered then? So yeah, we saw some photos. It looks like you're the ones doing it. So Elaborate on that,
No,
man.
bro, we
Yeah.
have a lot of people. I post a little bit more because I enjoy using social media. I have a digital marketing agency. Some of
Yep.
our guys are a bit shy, so they don't post up as much. But there are a lot more people doing delivery, lah, bro. They just don't post up and flood the social media as much as I do, lah. So, basically, my day starts at about I wake or get up by 7 plus because I support 3 roadblocks. And my first meals go out at 8:30,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have an agreement with the 2 hospitals, which is Hospital Sungai Buloh and Hospital KL. So these are agreements already in place, and I cannot break them because I signed a black and white with them. And so Hospital Sungai Buloh is at 11:30 a.m. and Hospital Kuala Lumpur is at 4 p.m. So roadblocks in the morning, Hospital Sungai Buloh, this one is already done 3. Then generally sometimes at lunch at about 12:30, 12 to 12:30, we do some PPRs, low cost flats. And after that, in the evening, I could potentially do 2 things, which is firstly doing the Myanmar refugees and all, because they actually, Daniel, this one thing that we don't realize, some of them are undocumented. So even though there is aid outside available, they are so scared to come out. They're scared to get arrested so they only want to stay indoors. And then after that, I also do sometimes the homeless, but like I said, not I do alone. So right now, we it depends on the different timing of the day. And then I met this Sabahan guy through this other group called Kita Jaga We Care.
Yeah.
He is Michelangelo. And one day I went to give him food because I was supposed to give food to a PPR, and unfortunately they had also got extra food already from somebody else. So
Right.
then I had all the food in my car, and with cooked food we don't have 10 hours. It's just a matter of 1-2 hours because we don't want to, it can go bad.
Right.
So I was introduced to this guy and I called him up and he said, "Hey, come down to my area." I was like, "Wow, okay lah, what area is this lah?" He was like, "Come down to Bukit Bintang Pavilion." And man, this guy knew all the selit-selit jalan, lorong Haji Taib, here, there, all the homeless here. Ada 3 orang tidur sini, 4 orang tidur sini. And so we managed to give all the food out. And then when I spoke to him, I was like, "Oh, okay, you mean you can do this at night?" And then he told me, he said, "Hans, orang yang lapar, malam pun lapar. Bukan saja he's a Saban guy." And he said, not a lot of people do good, right, Daniel, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. Do you not think that there could be a certain amount of people that don't have food that are hungry at night?
Right.
So then he told me, he was like, "Okay, so sometimes now we also try and do at night, a certain amount. So as we get funds coming in, our goal is to feed as many people as we can, And now with more restaurants on board, I don't feel like there's so much of weight on my shoulders, because now I've got like, okay, this guy can give me another 100, this guy can give me another 200. So now it's just all to our big boss, Ivy. She is the big boss. We just all tell her, okay, we are ready to go to the ground. You tell us. So she tabulates everything together. And so yeah, then it moves. And of course, we've also got Jennifer Ong, who is from Hapa. She does the audit. So X amount of restaurants, they actually go and verify. So we note down in our restaurant how many people we have served. They come to verify. So
Again,
this is another aspect, a check and balance. So Hapa, I have won a Hapa before. It's quite a prestigious award. And so when Jennifer saw this, she said, "I would love to be part of it. And how about I bring where they audit for awards? Why don't I come and check? Are you all really taking this money? Or are you all, doing the real good that you all are claiming? You claim that you've served 50 people, 100 people. Note it down. Let me come and do some check and balance." So it's a bit hard maybe for her to go to Johor now. But in around KL, we are quite sorted. So she does the check and balance. We've got Jeremy who does the whole strategizing. He's been getting us PR in the Star and all of that. And he follows me as well. So it's just become a great big community. I always heard about communities, but I never thought I would be part of it,
Let me ask you this. So, based on what you just shared earlier, there are at least 6 targeted deliveries for yourself alone. not counting your other partners or collaborators. So we can imagine how much is that being amplified. But let's just focus on yourself. So, yeah, I was trying to go into the direction of you getting all the money already. Curbside Jalan Kasah, your team members cook, and I hear that it's not just cook once a day. It's a continuous cooking for lunch and then for dinner. So that's 6 meals, right? Or at least 2 meals, but lunch 3 meals, dinner 3 meals again. Tell me, you mentioned about 7:30 a.m. That's roughly what time your day starts. What time do you end?
On an average, about 12 to 1.
12 to 1. And then in the evening, the dinner continues?
12 to 1 a.m.
So you being with me right now. Okay. Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Now
I mean, all in all, but like, so I do a minimum of 4, which is 8:30, 11, about 1 and 5 or 6.
Right.
So sometimes
Right.
I don't do all 6, because it's also impossible to feed everybody. There's a
Sure.
lot of people that need help. So
Right.
I do at least 3 to 4 a day, which keeps me happy. I enjoy doing it. And then on days that I don't have, because I've also got to strategize with my shareholders in my other businesses. Some of my shareholders are in Singapore, in Russia, who invested in Tiki Taka. So I also have to update them on my other businesses that I am involved in. So as much as I can help, I also am accountable to people who have invested with me 4 or 5 years ago money.
Fair enough.
So yeah.
And that just in a day, roughly on average, so it could be from 3 deliveries, 4 deliveries, and up to 6. And you're the guy who's on the ground delivering, at least for your part, for your targeted one. Now, you've got 7 days. Tell me, how many days in a week you're doing this? Let me just get an
5
idea.
days.
5 days.
Monday to Friday. Yeah.
Mondays to Fridays.
Yeah. So Saturday and Sunday is the days that, okay, so I didn't want to, because on Curbside alone, we cook about 300 to 500 meals, depending on cash, how much comes in, and we move the food out to homeless and all of that. But Saturdays and Sundays are the days where my stall is a bit more busy in the neighborhood. So I look at Saturdays and Sundays on time that my business needs to focus and make money. So
Right.
Saturdays and Sundays, I get a lot of walking in my neighborhood. So I tell my team, you just focus on Curbside. Don't worry about cooking these 300 to 500 meals. Because to cook 300 to 500 meals
Not
is
easy,
not
man.
easy.
A lot
And
of
it's,
work.
if you only cook once, it's easy. It's very easy because one time you cook done, But this one you cook at 8:30, then you cook at 11, then you cook at 1, then you cook at 4 for the 5
5
o'clock,
days a week.
Yeah. So it can be really tiring. It can be exhausting. I'm just a driver, bro. For me, nothing easy Just sit in the car, make phone call, check WhatsApp, check social media. But they are doing the hard labor. So on the weekends, when I see that I have this Monday to Friday is just we do good. We try and support as much as we can. But we know potentially on Saturdays and Sundays our stall is going to get busy. So my team also just said, boss, Saturday, Sunday, let us just focus on the stall. And I agreed. I said, fine. Saturdays and Sunday, you just help me make money in the stall, keep the standards good, and focus on that. Monday to Friday, we do this. Yeah, I mean, I have to make some business to keep them employed as well,
Now,
and at the same time, it gives them a break also.
That's true. Now, we are in a bit of a crunch of time. I'm actually exceeding the time because this topic is really, really moving. And Chris has got a question. How do you reach out to Ivy? What I'm suggesting, Chris, get connected with Hans, DM him and check in as well, too. So, so now Hans has seen your question. Get connected, you too.
Yeah.
So, so again, for those of you who are tuning in, you just heard from him sharing coming out from the host's mouth what this is all about. And Hans, listen, I've been playing the fool with you, teasing you. When you do your deliveries, wear a cape, all right, wear underwear outside, choose your color, then I tell you have a lot bigger smiles during deliveries. Now, but coming to the
Cannot, bro. Maybe once I put on some muscle, okay, got some muscle and all, maybe then I'll wear that like Superman. Until then, one scrawny, skinny bayi fella with a bald bayi fella going in Superman underwear, not going to work out, bro. Not going to work out.
So I purposely put this here. So Hans, what are your thoughts? I mean, again, there are a lot of our fellow Malaysians, our connections, audience who are tuning in, or even more who are not tuning in out there, who really wants to help, but they may not have an idea how to. So, and also there's the other side of the writers. There's a lot of talk, there's a lot of writing about it. Anybody, can any one of us do something? Can we be a hero or not? What do you think in
Yeah,
your words?
I think all of us are heroes in our own way. Like we've got a guy who said that, he just can design the artwork for us. He's a hero to us because none of us can design for fucks. So he designed that nice pay it forward with the heart. That was fantastic. So everybody can do their part. We've got people donating, very small amounts. They do their part. There are some people who have also reached out and said that they are delivery. What is that app? Lala Move or something like that. Not Lala Move,
Mhm.
another guy.
Almost
He
delivery.
does. Yeah, Lala Move. So he's also smaller one, and he said, "Look, I'm not making a shitload of money, but I see your route is going here. Could I take that headache off you? I go to Sungai Buloh. He goes to Sungai Buloh. So he told me, he said, what time is your thing? I'm going to Sungai Buloh anyway. I can bring your food to Sungai Buloh Hospital. So that will help because then I can focus on opening up other channels, doing other things. But I would still want to do this because it gives me a high. It gives me a high doing this, meeting people. Being in the F&B, we love to meet people, we love to talk.
Mm.
But anybody can contribute in any way, whether it's financially. If you have some skill in copywriting, maybe you could help some of our restaurants. We have this one Chinese lady, she speaks to me in Malay. She say, I tak boleh cakap English, very nice lady, Miss Lim. She's contributed hundreds of meals already, hundreds, very dedicated to the cause. So maybe I can hook a person up to help write her Facebook post for her, because I don't have the time to do that for her. She followed me not once, two times to Puchong and all, and it's amazing. So she's not a very big restaurant, small, and yet she contribute hundreds. So she's doing her part. She's even cooking now. She put out the video of she's physically as the owner cooking in the kitchen. So you look at what I'm doing and you think it's fantastic, bro. I can't even go and cook in the restaurant, So she's going way beyond whatever she's doing. So I think anybody, maybe reach out to the Projek Satu Hati Facebook, Instagram page, or DM me on LinkedIn or something. Tell me what you can do, and then tell me how you want to help. Like, anybody can be a hero, and then
Mm.
we'll just connect the dots. A couple of days ago, I got a message from the KL bar chairman or CEO or something, and we will see. I'm gonna reach out to him. I even had Sheikh Farouk. He is the CEO of Big Aeon. He reached out to me and he said, hey, how can I help and all, and now we are taking it offline. I told him what are the ingredients I need. I need a lot of chicken and all of that, and he's like, I'm going to get my team to come and support you. So new channels are opening. If I can get more chicken supplied to me, means I can serve more people, So anything that you have, don't be afraid to reach out to us, and we can take it from there, Like
Okay.
I had no dream of having somebody give us masks, but when this lady said she got mask, and then it just hit me when I saw the homeless without a mask, I thought, why not give him the mask,
Yep, exactly. And there's a lot more that we could actually dive in, but we're already exceeded our 1 hour time frame here. So for those of you who have joined us, thank you so much for your time, and connect with Hans, get to see what he's up to. You'll see his photos. Connect with him not just on LinkedIn, but check him out on Facebook as well for his profile, as well as the Projek Satu Hati, as well as on Instagram. Tyler Chin, he's got something useful where he's suggesting to you, Hans, to talk to Pickup, where he says he saw them advertising that they're willing to do free deliveries to support businesses. So potential collaboration right there.
Nice,
So
I like that.
right. So hey man, thanks for that, Tyler. So get connected as well, you too. So Hans, I really, really am very appreciative of what you've done. I think what you're doing is great. Yes, you have to also cari makan to support your businesses, but at the same time, it's beautiful where you're able to marry the idea of doing business while paying it forward to the society. And yeah, it's just and to know that the Projek Satu Hati, yourself and David, both of you co-founded the whole entire group barely a month ago, from zero to 40 participating restaurants believing in this movement. I tell you, buy it forward is a very foreign idea in Malaysia. What more in this region? You can probably hear it in the US or Western countries. But well done, Hans. And
On one thing, Daniel, I just have to say this. But to be really honest, if you didn't get the ball rolling in Johor, we were actually questioning it. I'll be very honest with you. When we were discussing it, we said, no lah, 3 restaurants will come on board. You think 3 can come on board? And then when I spoke to you, I spoke to David, I said, bro, Johor came on board. He's like, your good friend, that one. I said, I don't know the guy. He just DM'd me on LinkedIn. I had no idea who is this guy. And he was like, are you for real? You really think this can work? I said, I think there's potential if this guy reached out in Johor, and then we hadn't got the post, right? So we don't know yet, right? I said, don't know lah. I spoke to him. This guy seemed like a genuine guy, but we'll see lah. He said going to come to a restaurant. We wait and see. And then you honored your word. You convinced the guy, and then the post went up. And to be honest, bro, that gave us the confidence to know that a lot of people have ideas, but sometimes they don't know whether it's going to work or not. So when they don't know, they stay in their comfort zone, But when we heard from you it works, or you convince somebody, then we were like, fuck, now we got to go all out. Like, Johor already launched it before even the co-founders launched anything. So thank you very much for that, bro. Thank you so much for that.
I'm on it. And yeah, because of that also, I still have my roti canai fix to just cross over the road. So that's all the time that we have, dear audience, and I'm really appreciative of you spending that more than 1 hour with us, and Hans, especially yourself as well. Stay healthy, because you're putting yourself out there despite the burgeoning number of new cases daily, and yet you're doing there. I think you got some extra shine, deflect the virus out. But yeah, I mean,
always scared of my bald head, bro.
But jokes aside,
fingers crossed, bro.
Fingers crossed. This time cannot play the full one. You're visiting 2 hospitals some more, every now and then. So for those of you tuning in again, as this broadcast ends, drop in your comments, your questions, tag Hans for anything that you'd like to know more. Hans can just check in as long as you tag him, and get connected. Connect and ask him, and feel free to also ask how can you actually support. You may not have to be monetarily, but talk about it. I started it by just talking about it. I didn't even know that I have contributed to what Hans just mentioned, that we were the first one to get on board. So anyway, just talk about it. For those of you who are non-doers, who are talkers, now is your time to shine. Talk the damn shit out and just spread the whole message. So Hans, any last words? We are kind of like 112. This is the longest over exceeded broadcast ever. So but for good reason.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for having that conversation a month ago, and really appreciate it, bro.
Thank you for picking up my call, because he's looking at, who the hell is this fella calling me? Singapore numbers.
Nobody else calling me, bro. That time, nobody calling me. Thank you for calling. At least.
All right. So yeah, and that's all the time we have. So again, many thanks. Talk about it, buy it forward, support your local businesses. If they don't know about it, introduce to that to them. It may save the businesses. It may also save people out there. 1 meal is better than none. So with that said, have a good night, stay safe, and I'll see you again next week. Okay, so bye now.